Joining us now with stories trending around the world is OjyOkpe. And Oji, today is International Men's Day. And like Dr. Dino, I know you love and respect men.
I love and respect men, absolutely. Happy International Men's Day to you both. I mean, I love the way we celebrate you men. You guys are fantastic. Happy great woman being in the middle of, what can I say? I have to also acknowledge you. Why not? Don't mind them. But we'll celebrate their implications. Absolutely. Of course, happy International Men's Day to, male viewers and, of course, the chairman, the Duke, Prince Nduka Obaigbenna. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending, focusing on reactions, trailing the dramatic chaos that erupted at the People's Democratic Party headquarters in Abuja on Tuesday. Police fired tear gas to disperse rival factions battling for control of the opposition party after both the Wike-backed group and the newly elected National Working Committee, led by Kabiru Turaki, scheduled parallel meetings for the same day. The flashpoint came when the camp of FCT Minister Wike arrived at the PDP headquarters, triggering violent clashes that sent politicians and journalists scampering for safety as supporters clashed outside Wadata Plaza. Let's take a look.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
This was so disgraceful. Well, the PDP alleged that security operatives shot some of their members. I mean, this is quite a shocking revelation. Meanwhile, in a stunning appeal, the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, publicly called the U.S. President Donald Trump to intervene and save democracy in Nigeria. Speaking to journalists after gaining access to the PDP secretariat, Turaki stated that what is at stake is not just genocide against Christians in Nigeria, but that democracy is under threat. Let's take a look.
I want to call on President Trump. What is at stake is not just genocide against Nigerian Christians. He should come and save democracy in Nigeria. Democracy is under threat. I'm calling on all other developed nations, all advanced democracies, come and save Nigeria, come and save democracy. Because I cannot understand how a serving minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be leading talks, armed talks, and then with the active connivance or support of the police to come and create mayhem here. I have said it, we are willing to lay down our lives to protect our office, to protect our democracy, to protect our mandate. So Nigerians, you are watching what is happening. International community, you are seeing the threat that Nigerian democracy is. Come and save us. Come and save us.
Now, Turaki's appeal has sparked fresh controversy about whether opposition leaders crossing sovereignty lines undermines or strengthens Nigeria's democracy. Let me take some reactions. Rosie wrote on X. And you wonder why Trump called Nigeria a disgrace. Before you get sentimental, just look at this nonsense. This country has totally lost its trajectory. Everything is on autopilot. What you are seeing are the early warnings and signs of a failing state. God help us all. Another ex-user wrote, if Nigerian leaders, especially politicians from the APC, PDP, LP, ADC, and every other party invested even half of the passion, energy, and resources they pour into protecting their political positions, into protecting the Nigerian people, this country would be miles ahead. But the tragedy is clear. Our leaders fight harder for power than they fight for citizens. They mobilize overnight when their interests are threatened, yet move painfully slow when the masses are crying for security, jobs, healthcare, and dignity. Nigeria is not lacking potential. Wallahi, it is suffering from leadership that prioritizes party survival over people's survival until our politicians begin to place the lives of citizens above the logos of their parties. True progress will remain a slogan instead of a reality. Ayo, we have seen these stories, but for me, it just smacks of insult at this point for this sort of thing to be happening at this critical time in our polity. Your thoughts?
Earlier on, I'd said it was a show of shame.
Yes.
A number of people had said it's a showdown, it's Wahala in Wadata, a number of things. But I also believe that this is a massive distraction from the real issues belaboring the nation at this time. This is, we pointed out that the PDP chairman, Turaki, is from Kebbi State. This is Kebbi State, where 25 young girls have just been killed. Yes, they're not the government in power. The APC is the government in power, and they're the ones that have the responsibility as entrusted in them by the Nigerian people to ensure the security of lives and property. But as an opposition, this is where we need to hear their voices loud and clear, either providing solution, checking the government on the day, empathizing with the people, doing their own part in building the nation. But what do we see? What matters to them, or what is priority to them, which is political power, dominance, who is who. And in doing that, there was just a massive show of shame, a waste of resources, of taxpayers' money. People pay the police their salary. I hope we know this. But instead, rather than them do the work that they've been commissioned to do, we see them protecting one heavyweight or the other, and ensuring that one party or the other does not have the higher hand. It is an insult to the uniform that they wear, quite frankly, whereby we're using them as political ammunition in a political fight such as this. Can we have the men act as adults? And I'm sorry I say men, it's International Men's Day, but that's why we need to emphasize on raising, even right from the family units, raising men that can become great leaders in the future, raising people, men and women, that can become great leaders. But that aside, just to mention that the PDP ought to get its business together. And then I will end on this note. This is also happening under the administration and government of a man who is said to be a true Democrat. Democracy thrives when we have vibrant opposition, not to just keep attacking the government of the day, but to provide ideas, rich ideas, conversations, to be supported by an ideology, and for opposition to thrive. We must have a government that is not seen to want to stifle the voice of dissent or to kill the voice of the opposition. And so that's why I want to call on President Tinubu as a true Democrat. Wike is a minister under his administration, so he has the powers to at least bring him under control, if I can use that word. But also even the police and the members of the state to ensure that they also are doing impartial and acting within the capacity of what they were hired to do. So I believe that under this administration, under a Democrat, democracy is actually failing before our very eyes, and that's quite a shame.
Complete disgrace. Well, meanwhile, amid the PDP crisis, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed brought a cultural touch to the party headquarters. Traditional dances performed at Wadata Plaza, offering a brief respite, I guess, from the political tensions gripping the opposition party. Let's take a look. Dr. Mati, over to you. Five sets of people.
Again, I refer to Donald Trump, yes, who says Nigerians always think serious matters are opportunities for skit making and for comedy. This is not the time for the People's Democratic Party to go a dancing. This is a moment for the People's Democratic Party to go Asorui. In other words, this is not the occasion for dance or comedy, because what is happening is that the party that was once described as the largest political party in the whole of Africa, with some of its members boasting that they will be in power for 50 years, has imploded. And it's in a serious crisis. How to resolve that crisis is what is important. Because as the major opposition party in Nigeria, it has a role to play, not just in terms of looking for power, but also in terms of the prospects of national stability. What they have done in the PDP simply is to achieve the objectives of the APC, to hand over, as I said yesterday, a second term on a platter of gold to President Bala Tinubu, and let nobody come after the 2027 election and say, oh, they rigged the election. The election has already been won and lost. Even the Labour Party headquarters is no longer functioning because there's crisis between Nenadi Usman and Julius Abure. The PDP is also not functioning. Now, is this good for democracy? Many people will not think so. Number two is that the role of the police at the PDP secretariat yesterday has to be investigated, both by the Inspector General of Police himself and also by higher authorities. Because a situation where you now rent a police, Nigerians have always complained about this, that you can hire a police to serve the police to serve any purpose. The PDP will say it's factionalized. Is it that the Nigerian police is also factionalized in terms of maintaining law and order? So this must be investigated, and whoever is behind, that ugly conduct of the Nigerian police must be sanctioned. Finally, in Acts of the Apostles, chapter 16, verse 9, the Apostle Paul had a vision of a call from Macedonia, where a man appeared to Apostle Paul, and he told him, come to Macedonia and help us. What KTSAN did at the secretariat of the PDP yesterday was a Macedonian call, calling on Donald Trump to come and save democracy in Nigeria. Right. And I think that this is not the divine calling of Apostle Paul. This is, a call that we do not support. Nigeria is a sovereign country, and we should not reinforce the thinking, the belief, the assumption that Donald Trump is the international policeman of the world. That will be strengthening his delusional behavior in international politics. Right. If democracy is to be saved in Nigeria, it is only Nigerians themselves that can save their democracy by having a proper, credible electoral system, and by the politicians behaving like gentlemen who are committed to the progress of Nigeria and not to their personal ambitions. You want another
No, it's enough fun for this morning. Well, talking about democracy being saved, well, Piers Morgan has released the much-anticipated segment of Uncensored, featuring Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister, Yusuf Tuggar. The explosive interview, which also featured former Canadian MP Goldie Gamari and Reverend Ezekiel Dachemo, saw Minister Tuggar mount an aggressive defense, challenging international reports on the scale of Christian killings and church burnings in Nigeria. The minister dismissed widely circulated figures as completely and totally inaccurate and false, insisting that media fact checkers have examined the numbers and found them grossly inflated. Let's take a look.
Over the last 2 years, there have been 52 churches, depending on which region, again, you are referring to, because there are different regions in Nigeria. Since the last 5 years, the attacks, not destroyed, attacks on churches, 102.
How many Christians have been murdered in Nigeria since 2009?
Since over the last 5 years, I can categorically tell you that 177 have been killed. And it does not mean that the killing...
But you said to me earlier... You said to me earlier you did. Yeah, but hang on. Foreign Minister, with respect.
Muslims. They are not necessarily Muslims.
Piers, what's happening in Nigeria is jihad. It's the exact same thing that happened on October 7 by Islamists when they broke into Israel and murdered Jews yelling Allahu Akbar. It's the exact same thing that ISIS terrorists did to the Yazidis in Iraq. It's the exact same thing that happened in Lebanon. Here's the only difference between what's happening today in Nigeria versus what happened 1,400 years ago when the Muslim Arab invaders came to Persia is that back then people did not have cameras, but today they do. It is 100% jihad. We've seen it before. This is how the Islamist playbook always happens. Right now, you have a Muslim president, and then they decided to choose a Muslim vice president. And so there is actually no Christian representation in the Islamist government. I was a politician for 7 years, Piers, and I can tell when someone is lying and avoiding the truth. That's exactly what this foreign minister is doing, and shame on him for lying.
Let me tell you, there's a genocide in Nigeria.
All right, this is an explosive interview, Rufai. I mean, but I was quite shocked when I heard the figure. 177 Christians have been killed in 5 years. That's what, according to the Foreign Affairs Minister. Quite shocking.
I dare him.
Quite shocking. I mean, there are reports. We've seen reports everywhere.
I challenge him to bring out that where he got that data from. He didn't cite the source. It's not true.
Well, all right.
That data is not true. It's porkies.
For you to speak. Meanwhile, global superstar Nicki Minaj gave an address at the United Nations headquarters supporting President Donald Trump's claims that Christians are being persecuted in Nigeria. In her speech, Minaj blatantly stated that Christians in Nigeria are being targeted and families have been torn apart. She also called for urgent action while stressing that this issue is not about taking sides or dividing people, but about uniting humanity. Let's take a look.
In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. And I want to be clear. Protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity.
This is about uniting humanity. And this is the reason why we keep highlighting the story, so that it can be tackled properly. But those statistics that the foreign minister reeled out on that show was quite painful to hear, Rufai.
Even me.
Yes.
I shame for Nigeria, I shame for Tuggar. Foreign minister of my country, go out there. You don't get facts, you don't get data.
The 200 people that were killed just the other day from Yawata, 200, and the 500 that Dachamo showed us,
he said
that's 700 already.
What about the Christmas Eve killings?
Yes.
You know, Amnesty reported that over 1,000 people were killed in the Christmas Eve killings. Okay, let's even say conservative number, let's say about 300, as reported by some people in that Christmas killings. You say 177, but it shows. And next thing, you are trying to put down the woman and saying all sorts. The woman was right. When we're talking about Muslim tickets, didn't people make noise? Didn't the likes of Bala say that was why he left the APC there? Has he not gone back the AP to the APC now? It's not going to show a level of balancing. And Tuggar kept on talking about Sudan. The reason for the problem of Sudan, apart from the artisan problem in the south, when the north and the south was fighting because of minerals and other things that John Garang helped liberate, is that there are two independent warlords. In South Sudan, you have Riek Machar and Salva Kiir fighting. In the northern part of Sudan, after the exits of Umar al-Bashir from the scene, you have Ameti and al-Burnham, two top military generals fighting each other for the power of the country. So it's got nothing, to do, and you're trying to relate it to, don't turn Nigeria into Sudan. You see, all of this narrative, please, I'm just saying get your facts right. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Get your facts right. And for, real quickly, the police officers that they used for all of the back and forths, let me just remind them in the words of another police officer, when Wike and Yerima had an altercation. One police officer called the military man in the corner and said, please, Don't die in their war. These
Do
men
not die in
they are
their
big
war.
men, no.
That's Dele Faroti.
They are just want to advise the police. Don't die in their war. They are big men. They will settle themselves. But it's very sad. Look at the killings that have been happening in this country. I challenge the minister's rhetoric and his numbers.
Yes.
This is very... So you couldn't Tuggar call National Bureau of Statistics and get data.
This is, I mean, he appeared to have been reading. He appeared to have been reading from
at least they should bring it out.
A piece of
National
paper.
Is that not why we are funding them?
We have a data problem.
We have a data problem.
But we are the media. They can send it to us. We would like to see those figures because what we have is nothing compared to what the minister reeled out. I mean, this is tragedy that is really happening in Nigeria.
And it took him a while before he was able to acknowledge and say the data. At first, he first said, no, we don't know. You can't really distinguish if it's Christian or Muslim. They don't check the religion of the dead. What do you mean? What kind of talk is that? We're not saying Muslims are not being killed. Yes, of genocidal proportion. But you can't deny the fact that there's a Christian genocide. Let's call it straight. They can't meet yesterday and talked about it again.
All right, Christians are being killed. Christians are being killed. Christians are being massacred. This is the conversation. In another tragic development, bandits stormed a branch of Christ Apostolic Church in the Eruku community of Kwara State on Tuesday evening, killing 3 worshippers and abducting the pastor, along with several congregants during a live-streamed service. The horrifying attack, which occurred around 6 p.m., was captured on video showing the congregation scampering for safety as sporadic gunshots rang out around the church premises. Let's take a look. In that video, we saw more than 5 armed bandits ransack the church, carting away belongings before kidnapping the pastor and worshippers. A witness told reporters that 3 people died immediately as the gunmen opened fire on the gathered congregation. Community leaders revealed that Eruku has been under banditry attacks for 3 weeks, with distress calls to authorities yielding to no results. The Kwara State Police Command has confirmed injuries to 3 persons, including a vigilante, but the full number of those abducted remains unclear. This comes barely 48 hours after bandits raided the government girls' comprehensive secondary school in Kebbi State, abducting 25 schoolgirls. 2 of them have escaped, while we have also learned of a Catholic priest who was abducted in Kaduna State. Dr. Abati, I'm sure you saw that video. It was quite terrifying to watch. When I saw it, I thought it was an old video. I did not even realize that it happened just yesterday amid this conversation and the crisis that we have in our hands.
Well, this is a sad reconfirmation of the fact that there is insecurity in Nigeria and that the Nigerian state has continued to fail in dealing with the problem, whether they use the phrase kinetic or non-kinetic. The fact that at this time there have been increased attacks on Christian establishments and Christian figures would seem to be also a reinforcement of the argument by persons who insist that there is Christian persecution in Nigeria. Whether this is orchestrated or not will be a matter for the intelligence authorities to find out. The attack in Kwara on the CAC Apostolic Church is reminiscent of the attack, years back in December in Owo. Mm-hmm. And now we have been told that years after, those bandits have now been attacked. Then you hear that a Catholic priest was killed in Kaduna. Riding Moore, even if he's wrong, says that 25 Christian students have been, abducted, and the teacher, the vice principal in the school killed. So it feels into this grand narrative. But one thing that we cannot run away from is that the state is not living up to its responsibilities. Look at that. That's a church there. There was even an elderly woman who was scampering for safety. This kind of thing, when it is seen by the international community, it reinforces the narrative. So the question to ask is that the intelligence agencies say they are responding, the security agencies say they are responding, but they are losing the battle, in this regard. Because if this kind of images go out, this kind of narrative will be reinforced, and then the Nigerian government will be holding the wrong end of the stick. And I said that the Americans are ahead, whatever the long-term objective may be. They've moved from traditional diplomacy to modern diplomacy. And that's why you have a Nicki Minaj talking, a former Canadian MP, a Miss Gambari, who is spewing anti-Gambari rhetoric on UK television. That's how the game is played. Right. So that was why I was saying, where are our other non-governmental actors or, non-state actors, civil society groups who can help the Nigerian government at the level of diplomacy? But whatever it is, we all agree that we have problems here with security. Nobody is safe. And a state cannot be failing, and then it will fold its arms and say, oh, we are looking for help. People come and help us. Right. What are you yourself doing? Yes. Domestic policy drives foreign policy. Right.
Speaking about security and what has been done so far, there's been a 2019 video showing General Officer commanding the 7th Division, Major General Abdulmalik Bulama Biu, advocating for Boko Haram fighters to lay down their arms during an interview in Maiduguri that is now making the rounds on social media. The general, during the interview, urged the militants that they could advance in society and even could one day become president of Nigeria. Let's take a look.
For everyone, you need to come on board. Boko Haram should lay their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver? We will do that. But we have appealed to them, including their detractors, their collaborators, to see reason to, as fast as possible, quickly drop their arms so that we can once again reoccupy our peaceful position.
So these are the fundamental issues that we have in our security forces. We have this rehabilitation program, and we're appealing and treating these bandits with kid gloves, saying that he could even become a president. And look at what we are seeing. We even have...
Are they not holding government position in other areas? Yes. Are they not taking picture of government official? Are there not some states that they say...
some local government chairman.
We have those videos. We have this... So we even have a horrifying clip circulating on social media showing the moment the now late Brigadier General Musa Uba was executed by the Islamic State West Africa Province ISWAP after they ambushed his convoy in Borno last Friday.
This is heartbreaking. Now, statements like what the previous video says is what emboldens terrorists and bandits to carry out their activities, even with an audacity and brazenness. That some of them do it and come into the community and be making laws and giving directions and be giving conditions as to whether or not they were preached. When the Nigerian, it's a failed state. When the Nigerian army, the Nigerian government should be hard on them and neutralize it. They are causing terror, mayhem. They are ensuring that people are not able to live in their communities. We have Nigerians who are IDPs for many years in their own country, displaced persons in their own country, and we are there appealing to them when we should talk tough and deal with the menace once and for all.
Well, in another development, the Nigerian Senate has demanded an immediate investigation into the More than $30 billion spent on the Safe School program, while urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to recruit 100,000 additional military personnel. Senator Adams Oshiomhole led the charge, accusing officials of turning security into a business. Let's take a look.
People are turned security to a business. So we should not monetize the debt of people by those who are living by appropriating funds in the name of protecting schools, and as we know now, the schools are not protected. What happened to the money? So my prayer is this: recruit additional 100,000 men and women to be recruited and trained and equipped and well kitted in the Nigerian army. Because the chief of army staff said they have 177,000 men. I think we should have at least 100,000 more to make it 277,000 to be able to cover the increasing number of population and the fact that we now have more schools than we used to have in 1960, in 1970, in 1980. Every year, our population is growing at 3%, and therefore our armed forces numbers should increase in addition to the deployment of appropriate tracking technology.
That's exactly what we need. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to depart Abuja for a strategic two-nation visit. His first stop is Johannesburg, South Africa, where he'll join world leaders at the 20th G20 Leaders Summit from November 22nd to the 23rd, upon invitation by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, at the summit, the president is expected to hold bilateral meetings aimed at advancing his renewed hope agenda. From South Africa, Tinubu will head to Angola for the 7th AU-EU Summit from November 24th to the 25th, where young leaders and organizations will address shared challenges like climate change, infrastructure development, the digital economy, and agribusiness. The president's trip was shared in a post on X by presidential spokesman Bayo Ononuga, generating several reactions. I'll take one. This person wrote, "With the killings in Kwara, abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi, execution of a brigadier general, and so many more killings and kidnapping around the country, and just the start of a new week, this man still finds reason to travel out. God, where have we found ourselves? Send help." In another development, controversy continues to trail President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's attendance at the All Nigeria's 2025 Judges Conference, while the president used the occasion to warn judges against corruption. It's a viral video moment that has sparked fierce debate about judicial independence. The footage captured the Chief Justice of Nigeria alongside judges from across the country standing as the APC Song of Allegiance, "On Your Mandate, We Shall Stand," played after Tinubu delivered his speech. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
May God bless the Nigerian judiciary, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless you all.
This video has since gone viral on social media, with Nigerians questioning why judges, who are meant to be the ultimate arbiters of justice without fear or favor, will be seen publicly associated with a partisan song of allegiance. Critics argue that the optics are damaging, especially at a time when election petitions and politically sensitive cases regularly come before Nigerian courts. Civil society groups say such displays, intentional or not, undermine public confidence in judicial impartiality. I'll take one tweet before we close with you guys. This person wrote, "Those who are blaming Trump for describing Nigeria as a disgraced country should watch this and tell me how they feel seeing judges eulogizing Tinubu, which means their loyalty is to Tinubu than the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are worse than what Trump said."
Okay, I have an advice for President Tinubu. At this rate, if he likes the song so much, you know the National Assembly is already a rubber stamp. He can just take it to them like he took the former national anthem to the change, and then just change the attempt to your mandate, Bola. for the next 4 years or how many years he's going to spend there, so that we just know that it's the national anthem already. They can also make it a national song. This national anthem, if you give it to the National Assembly, they will do it. You know they are robust.
Yeah.
Did you know that he changed National Assembly in less than 2 days or thereabout?
Right.
So
Let
if
me
you
just say
continue,
that, you know, this that on your mandate you shall stand that was played at the judges' conference was following a very powerful speech by the president himself, who had said that we must not turn the justice system to a sanctuary of conspiracy. He spoke very loudly about the fact that the Nigerian judicial system is said to be compromised or perceived to not be independent or that is quite corrupt. And so to see this happen just immediately after giving that powerful charge is quite an irony, and it's quite, you know, it's unfortunate at the very least. Yes, you might say that, oh, some people are not aware of it, but I believe that they should have come out very strongly against that, because that's not the national anthem of the country. The president walking out, usually you would sing the national anthem on his arrival and his exit from a formal event. So that ought to have been played, as opposed to this level of psychophancy we see. What is this? That's why we don't have truth in our system. People are not willing to tell the truth or stand up, and we make laws like this where you said that people who criticize the president will be punished, or they must wear ashrebi that is the president.
They must be punished. Well, I want to believe that that image of judges singing "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand" is not AI generated.
No,
because if it is not AI generated, it is scandalous, it is shocking, it is embarrassing, it is unacceptable. Because judges, as we said yesterday, are expected to be above board. They are supposed by their code of conduct to be impartial. They are not expected to jump into the arena. And then the president says, oh, the judiciary should not become a sanctuary for compromise. That's the word he used. And right before his presence, some judges stood up and they started saying, on your mandate we shall stand. No. Don't imitate them.
On your mandate. Don't you listen?
You are imitating them. We are supposed to be neutral.
No, me, I'm singing.
No. So, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
In other words, they just confirmed what the president had said. I think those judges should be identified.
All right.
There were cameras in that room.
Right.
We should know who those judges are.
There were a lot of them.
They should be named and shamed.
Well, all right. I wish we had more time. I'd love to thank you all, as always, for your great analysis. As always, on What's Trending. Rufai. Well, all right. That's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.